These are Spider-Man's iron arms. These extra appendages have become iconic for their sleek appearance, but they've also become a talking point in the community, with people asking time and time again if we even need them or if we're better off without them. The answer is a bit more complicated. Spider-Man's tech has always been a big part of his character. It started out with his web shooters, and now we're at the point where he's got extra retractable limbs coming out of his suit. This is something that's kind of controversial in the community, since some people believe that the character should be more grounded than that, while others like the spectacle and convenience that these tools offer Peter. But when is it too much? Let's talk about it. The Iron Arms have been around for quite a while, but the impact they've had on the character is no small one. They first appeared in the Iron Spider suit as 3 retractable metal claws. That's right, 3. Spider-Man, the spider-themed superhero, was 1 leg short from being anatomically correct. Not only were these extra arms useful in battle, but they made for some pretty sick poses. They made sense as a one-time gimmick for the Iron Spider suit, and I think we can all agree they were a really novel idea at the time. They made appearances every now and then, like in the Superior Spider-Man storyline or the Ultimate Spider-Man TV show, but they didn't become really popular until Avengers Infinity War. As you already know, the MCU introduced us to this highly talked about design, their version of the Iron Spider, but along with it came the Iron Arms in live action for the first time. They were honestly pretty cool in the movie, but at the same time, this was yet another thing that the MCU popularized to the point where we would see it often. They also added an extra leg to make it so that he has 8 limbs now. Finally, why did that take like 10 years? The next noteworthy appearance of the extra appendages was Marvel's Spider-Man 2. Now, in a video game format, these arms sound amazing. Another tool added to your moveset that can expand your combat and even aid you in traversal. I wouldn't blame you for thinking it was a cool idea. The problem is how badly they were executed here. The Iron Arms had a ton of potential in this game, but instead they were watered down to what's essentially 4 special moves. Imagine grabbing 4 guys and throwing each one individually with the arms. Imagine climbing your web with them mid-swing or using them to run up walls faster. There's so many things they could have done with these, and it's a shame that they feel like a last-minute addition to make up for the lack of symbiote abilities in the first half of the game. They had something cool going with these, but they could have been executed a lot better. It sucks that this is the only time we got these in a game, and this is how they turned out. If we see them in the next game, hopefully they're fleshed out more, or maybe even just replaced with something better. Every time these things show up, they're either pointless or a neat novelty. So that begs the question, are they really even necessary? Well, I've brought along my friend Simply Spider-Man to help answer that. Take it away.
Thanks, Rom. And thank you for letting me dive into this topic with you. Well, for starters, when we step back and begin to analyze what makes Spider-Man who he is, and what makes him the hero with a struggle we've all come to love, it becomes apparent that with the aid of the Iron Arms, whether we're talking about the Iron Spider armor, or even the likes of Superior Spider-Man, or even the fan favorite Octo Spidey from Spider-Man Funeral for an Octopus issue number 2, and of course the animated series. Something is critically lost when Peter adorns these mechanical arms. The essence of the webhead goes away, which is ironic because we're talking about a guy dressing up like a spider after all. The Iron Arms, regardless of the medium that which they are playing a part in, strays away from Peter and his identity as Spider-Man, only ever meaning to serve an ulterior purpose, to beef up Peter's ability to go toe-to-toe with larger threats that maybe Peter would otherwise not be able to overcome. But again, does Peter need this type of buffer? It's been shown time and time again that Peter has always pulled his punches and is able to overcome many obstacles without the help of the additional arms. Because Peter has the strength inside him at all times, and when he's given these additional tools, a key part of him and who Spidey is as a whole is lost. Now, don't get me wrong, they have their place in the respective canon that which they are a part of, but remember that these are never meant to be a mainstay of Spider-Man's journey, much like that of the black suit. Hopefully, going forward, we see a better utilization of this component with future movies and video games and other forms of media. Heck, who knows, maybe in your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man we'll see that come to fruition when Peter gets a little bit older.
Thanks for joining in. As Simply Spider-Man stated, Peter has a tendency to hold back a lot. If that's true, why is he going around smacking people with metal blades? While the idea, and especially the imagery, are very cool, I will have to agree with Simply Spidey and say that it does take away from a core aspect of the character. I don't mind it being a one-time gimmick for a suit or two, but always having them at the ready not only makes his fights a lot easier and therefore less interesting, but It makes it seem like he's on the level of Tony Stark, especially when they're nanotech based. You can clearly see a demonstration of this in Spider-Man 2, where he uses the Iron Arms in like one cutscene. They knew that if he used them all the time, he would be OP. Not that I want to be overexposed to them, but I find it strange that they were a big part of the marketing, yet the actual use in them in the game itself felt very tacked on. I think the best way for these to be handled is as a temporary tool to help Spider-Man when he needs it, not as a permanent part of his character. I don't mind seeing them again in the future, but only if they're executed well and don't feel like they take away from the core aspects of the character. But what do you think? Do you like the Iron Arms, or do you think they're unnecessary? What would you do with the pair of extra robotic limbs? Let's keep the discussion going. I want to thank Simply Spider-Man for being a part of this video. He's got some really cool content up on his channel with more on the way, so I definitely recommend checking him out. Thank you for watching, and have a super blessed day.